Hello, welcome or welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. My name is Liz. I'll be guiding you on this journey today. And I've gone back to making like little intro videos to put at the beginning of each reading. So that's what this is. And I'm stalling because I can't remember what I was actually going to say in this intro. Memory. Anyway, okay, here we go. It's all coming back to me now. Couple things. I'm going to stick to just doing human design profile readings for the time being. I also am going to start doing readings by type as well. So, there'll be a reading for manifestors, there'll be a reading for projectors, there'll be a reading for generators and manifesting generators. I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep those in one reading for now anyway, until I feel differently about it. And then reflectors as well. So I'm going to add those readings in, but I just, a little birdie told me to stick with those. And I think, honestly, in great part because those are the readings that I actually get like a response on, and there's more engagement in those readings that I put out. And that's what I want, and being a manifesting generator myself, right? It's responding. So, instead of doing the zodiac signs and the human design profile readings, at least for the next little while, I don't know how long that'll last until a birdie tells me to do differently. And obviously that birdie is like my intuition or like my own like personal guidance, right? But that's what I'm going to do for the time being. And I think like part of why I haven't necessarily done that sooner is because I really haven't been engaging with or like super I don't know, whatever the fucking word is. Like, how annoying is that? To not be able to find the right word. I just haven't been as in the realm of human design as I have been with astrology. Like I've been spending a lot of focus on just understanding astrology, and especially like my own astrology. And so I just really haven't been engaging with a lot of human design content. Like I really haven't been keeping on top of it. So as a 5/1, I think I just feel a bit insecure about making that the prominent thing. And I honestly, I can't even say that's going to change. Like I'm not saying that like I'm going to start diving heavily back into human design just yet. I know the basics. I know all of the shit that like I did learn before. But yeah, that is the truth. That is the truth that I haven't been as on top of that as I have been on top of astrology. I mean, obviously, astrology is also included in like human design, but anyway, that would be getting into a bit of like semantics. So, from here on, for however long, I'm just going to stick to doing human design profile readings. The 333 readings are still available. Those are the only that's the only offering that I have right now. Like, I'm not doing longer form, or I'm not doing one-on-one, like, personal readings for the time being. I had a couple people email me about a personal reading, like a longer form personal reading, and I just don't feel called, or it just doesn't feel good for me to put energy into those for right now. For whatever reason, I mean, I do feel like I'm in this, like, transitionary phase, and I'm like literally in the middle of it, like that liminal space, and I just kind of feel like I need to kind of keep my energy, like, focused on whatever is going to unfold, like, with that. And for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel good to offer, like I said, like, anything basically beyond, like, those 333 readings. So, which is also, like, kind of scary, right? Like, because I'm like, ugh. I could use the money right now. I could use, really, ultimately, I could use the money right now. Like, that is the truth of it. I could use the money, but that is the only thing, like, and that's not, like, a very good, that's not a motivator that, like, feels good, for me right now. So the capacity that I do have is, again, the 333 readings. The basics of that is that it's $3.33. You would Venmo me $3.33 and include your email address, and I will pull 2 cards for you. The first card would be the door, or, that's basically the obstacle or the opportunity, or the thing that you are standing in front of, or the thing that you are coming up to in your life. And then the key would be the guidance or the advice, or how to work through that obstacle, or, rite of passage, or, whatever. And the readings that I have done on those so far, and thank you to those who have requested that offering, they have been so amazing and so cool. But it is a written reading, so you'll get a PDF with a picture of the tarot card. The interpretation that I have for it, and then any, overall, like, thoughts or things that I kind of picked up on in those cards too. So again, like I said, the ones that I have done have been so amazing and so cool, just the way that things have unfolded. And, the people who have gotten those readings, there's been great feedback from those readings as well. So thank you also for that. And I'll put, of course, an explanation of that in the description. Yeah, really quick then, because this is long as hell all of a sudden. Let me just introduce the decks that we're going to be using. The tarot deck is the Wandering Moon Tarot, and I was going to say the affirmation deck, which I guess that it is, but the Oracle deck that we're going to be using is the Inner Fucking Peace deck, and my sister actually sent these cards to me. So yeah, let's get into the reading. Great. So this is the reading for the 6-3 Human Design Profile, the Role Model Martyr. If you don't know what your Human Design Profile is, there is a link in the description for you to get your Human Design Body Graph. Your profile will be listed on there. Your type will be listed on there as well. So I'll be working on those readings next. So be sure to look out for those. And let's see what cards come out for you. Hello? Okay. We have the Queen of Wands, the Page of Wands. Interesting. One more. One more. Okay. The Star. It's kind of funny because the cards, all of them, like, fell towards me, which is kind of interesting. And then the Page of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. Okay, let's get your affirmation card. And like, fuck yeah, was at the top of the deck again. Like, that's where we started, which is kind of funny. This says sit down and shut up. In other words, meditate. Shoot, what was the last card I just did? I keep meaning to like write them down and then I keep forgetting. So sorry, give me just a second. Of course, is it like at the top? Here we go. Okay. That's funny. I mean, there are like a couple meditating cards in this deck, but this is definitely like the most aggressive. But, you know, I mean, sometimes you need to be told in that way to where like you would actually listen, you know, which is actually kind of funny that we have 2 Wands cards out here, which is very like action oriented. And then we have the card that says sit down and shut up. And really, it could be because, you know, the whole point of meditating is to literally hear yourself. You know, it's not being distracted and stimulated, you know, or overstimulated, and also detaching from your thoughts too. You know, I mean, the goal is not necessarily to like completely stop your thoughts, but it is to be more observant versus in them, to be more passive versus like actively, you know, when you find yourself going through like your grocery list, or when you find yourself revisiting a conversation in your head during meditation, it's just, again, detaching yourself from it and just letting it. I always kind of imagine, this is how my head works. There's a couple different things. Either I see like a microfiche machine in my head, which that might be aging me, but you know how like when you're scrolling through a microfiche, it's just, you can't even see an image. They're just speeding by you. And then you stop on like a certain page or article or whatever. Like that's kind of how I see it, you know, like the thoughts are just like speeding by. They're there. I'm not like attached to them. I don't even know what they are, but then I'll just like get stuck on one, which again, you know, maybe it's like a to-do list, again, a conversation that I had 12 fucking years ago, or, and then as soon as I have the realization that I'm in the thought, then I start the microfiche, machine back up. Or the other thing that I always imagine too is like a big whiteboard. And again, if I find myself attached to or actively in a thought, then I'll just I'll erase it on the whiteboard. The other thing, because I have to have options, no, they don't always work all the time. And hey, God. Ooh, your reading and the 6-2 reading, just a big fucking yawn. So I also halfway wonder if there's some sort of nervous system regulation thing that's happening here for you as well. But the third thing is that I imagine being on the stage with a broom, and my thoughts are the audience, So whenever, again, I get stuck on a thought or an idea or whatever, then I just imagine sweeping it off the stage. So anyway, that's just me. That's what I do. But, some people active meditation, cleaning could put you in a state of meditation, just doing something like a craft, even crocheting or embroidery or painting or coloring or, whatever it is. But it's your focus and your attention is on something specific, and it helps you not to think as much. But anyway, again, the point of meditation is to hear yourself and to receive your own guidance, at least for me, I guess that it is. So we have the Queen of Wands, the Page of Wands, and the Star card here. The Star card is Uranus, or, Aquarius. It's got the Aquarius symbol here. There's so much shit in Aquarius right now also. I believe that there still is. So maybe you have heavy Aquarius placements. You certainly don't have to. I don't have any in Aquarius, but that doesn't mean that I'm not still, feeling the energy. We have Pluto, Mars, the Sun, Venus, and Mercury, all in Aquarius right now. We just had a full moon in Leo 3 days ago. Maybe too, you have been, again, I know I already said it, but just really working on nervous system regulation. And more so even figuring out what activates your nervous system. I know for me, I recently discovered that I hold my breath a lot. And that creates anxiety in my body. That activates my nervous system. And it's totally subconscious. I don't even realize I'm doing it until one day I had the realization, or I had the consciousness to be why am I holding my breath? And why do I feel anxious in my body right now? I was literally playing a stupid game on my phone in bed. That's what I do. I get into bed really early, and then I'll just fucking waste a couple hours decompressing. I'll usually scroll for a little bit, of course, and then I'll put on a book usually. And wait, I'm yawning again. And play a game on my phone, while listening to a book. And I just like, all of a sudden I just realized like my whole body was really tense. And then I like noticed that I was like holding my breath. And then, like just realizing like the anxiety in my breath or in my body. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing? So you could be just like noticing things that you do subconsciously that activate your nervous system in a certain capacity. With these two cards, the Queen of Wands, the Page of Wands, it's like there's a knowing that either you already have realized or you will realize. And it's almost too like accepting it, because it's one thing to have a realization. It's like another thing to accept and do something about it. Queens for me are when we embody the energy of the suit ourselves. Like we learn to work with it. We learn to recognize it. We learn to give it to ourselves. It's the process of mastering it and sharing the wisdom or the mechanics of it with other people. And that's when, the king comes into play. And for me, the Queen of Wands is very confident and expressive, creative, motivated, but they understand what their motivations are. They understand how they want to create or how they want to express themselves. Like wands have to do with the actions that we take as well. I see wands as being information by way of experience, which because you're a 6-3, right? Like for the first 30 years of your life, you were living as a 3-3. And, the trial and error process, the making and breaking bonds, life bumping up against you, finding yourself in situations, and all of the lessons, all of the experiences that you have been through are information. Information is wisdom, right? I mean, like maybe you are in the tier of being on the roof. That could even be what this sit down and shut up card is about, because, the purpose of being on the roof is to unpack all that shit. Unpack your thoughts, your feelings, your experiences. What stays? What goes? What helps and what hinders? What benefited you? What didn't? How has that shaped who you are? And is that what you want? I mean, we can reinvent ourselves as many times as we want. There's nothing that says that we have to stay the same. Our ego and our brain would love that because it has information, it has data to go off of. And when we start trying to make changes to that, our brain is like, da-da, like we don't have information for like what is on the other side of this. We're freaking out, So yeah, I mean, all of that is like Queen of Wands. Like, who am I now? Is this true? Is this a true expression of me? Am I being authentic? Are my motivations in alignment with my goals, my dreams, my vision, for myself? Are the actions that I'm taking in alignment with what is true for me as well? Sirens usually mean no. So I am going to guess that at some level, there's some sort of disconnect there. And that, again, sit down and shut up. Like, dig into that. We have the Page of Wands, which is, and maybe it has to do with talking. Maybe it has to do with the things that you say versus the things that you don't say. And with these two being fire, like maybe you have an intensity, and maybe people have made you feel bad about that intensity, or they have a hard time accepting that intensity. So there's a block there. Or two, it could be even like your motivation behind what you say and when you say it. Maybe you are a really creative, either in writing or painting or whatever, right? And like maybe that's a way that you express yourself. And there's some sort of block there as well. But anyway, it's just interesting. That happened, and then my throat all of a sudden like just closed up for a second. It could even just be needing to say something that is fucking true for you. Like literally it could be one sentence, couple words, whatever. But the Page of Wands is, pages for me, like they don't attach themselves to anything. They're out there just trying shit. Wands, again, actions that you take, creativity, passion, adventure, fun. Like they'll literally just do things for the fuck of it. Like that looks fun. That looks creative. That looks interesting. And it literally is like just for the sake of having the experience. And, pages are messengers as well. So even, speaking, or speaking of, some sort of like creative block, it's almost like doing something without attaching any meaning to it. But all that it's doing, the purpose of it is to get the energy flowing. And also it's like through action. And again, I feel like you already know this. I like feel it in my fucking bones, but through doing, which is also like a very third line thing, but through doing is how you figure out what works and what doesn't. What do you like and what don't you like? I can't even tell you how many times I have like picked up a hobby and I thought it was going to become my new personality, and I bought like hundreds of dollars worth of shit, to make this thing my life. And I did it a couple times and I'm like, I fucking hate this. Like literally my body is rejecting, the process of doing this. There's been plenty of things that I thought I was going to hate, but I actually loved. There's been plenty of things that I was convinced I was going to love and I did, or that I was convinced that I was going to hate and I did, but all of those things I had to try, like I had to do them in order to get that information. There's been plenty of things that I have tried and I'm like, I hate this aspect of it. So I'm going to tweak that part, or I'm going to take that part out completely, And, or like I said, like I'm going to change it, or I'm going to tweak it to something that I do enjoy or that works better for me or is more efficient, or, whatever. So all of that is by doing. And again, like with the Page of Wands, even having the Page of Pentacles down here, it's allowing yourself to be new at something. It's knowing that you want to, head in a certain direction, you have a certain motivation, you want to express yourself in a certain way, all things wands related. And it's allowing yourself to be new or to have a new experience in that thing. And again, like, I have no doubt that you probably know how you want to do that as well. And it could just be getting drowned out by distraction or by other thoughts or whatever, by ego, really. So this, sitting down and shutting up part, really even like locking into what you want it to be. Like the star card is hopes and dreams. It's trusting the process. I also see the star as being literally the space between the quote unquote 5D. And when I say 5D as well, like I'm going to start explaining this because I feel like 5D is such a spiritual Pop-Tart, like term. But for me, like 5D is literally being in meditation. And it's like you're in your own field, like you're not in your mind, you're not in your body, you're in your own field of awareness. And that's where, that quietness and hearing yourself and receiving your own guidance comes from. So that's, I just don't know what else to call it other than, 5D. I don't want to use the field because I feel like that's very like Joe Dispenza, Dr. Joe Dispenza. Which I don't know, whatever. I feel like, it's just kind of like getting into semantics. But anyway, you're fucking in the field or 5D, right? Like whatever. Because I can't think of different words to call that. So the star, getting back to, I'm like, let me get this back on track. The star is literally the space between where we co-create, right? It's where we decide what we want, where we hear ourselves, our soul, our higher self. And then where we are in our physical body, the physical plane here in the 3D, right? And literally the star is right between that. So it's the point of, bringing those two things together. It's bringing down the co-creation or the goal, the idea, the manifestation, the intention even from that plane into the physical world. And again, it's a lot of trusting the process. There is a lot of faith in yourself that goes into that as well. And let me just look up Uranus. Revolution, innovation, sudden change, and liberation. Acting as a great awakener to break established structures. Individuality, eccentricity, and unconventionality. Uranus is in Taurus right now, and personally, it's fucking sitting right on top of, it's literally sitting, it's at 27 degrees Taurus, and I have a 27 degree Taurus Chiron and a 28 degree Taurus Sun. So that bitch has been like line dancing on my Chiron and Sun for, I can't even tell you how long. So I'll be glad when that bitch leaves. But then I'll be coming up against my like Uranus opposition at some point. I don't know if that's this year or next year, but anyway, I bring that up because this is a card of Aquarius. Aquarius in modern astrology is ruled by Uranus. So again, like I have no fucking doubt that there's something in here that you are seeking, like liberation. It's literally like a goal or a dream of yours. And maybe it's also too just craving personal expression in authenticity, like expressing yourself authentically, however that looks for you, you know? But it would be more aligned with your own personal truth, which I think is so monumentally and important right now. I think, speaking of great awakening or awakener, I truly believe that the quote unquote great awakening that's going to happen with the collective, like with everybody, is truth. Like we are literally seeing how much is actually bullshit in everything, in relationships, in jobs, in government, in wealth, in class, you know, human fucking rights, you know. We're literally seeing how much bullshit there is and how much lies have we've been living in, you know. And it is so fucking important right now for people individually to not only believe the truth of themselves, because again, and this is a huge thing with human design too, like the major thing with human design in the beginning of it is deconditioning. It's recognizing how much we have been conditioned out of our design, because no doubt, like prior to being indoctrinated or just, you know, growing up, we were already operating and making decisions and doing things through our strategy and authority just naturally. But then we had to go to school. Maybe your family was religious. You know, maybe there's, you know, societal, traditional ideologies or whatever, you know, that were placed on you. Add trauma to all of that. Right? Like, so the major thing with human design in the beginning of it is deconditioning. It's recognizing where you have been conditioned, how that shows up in your life as well. And conditioning is the lie. That's the not self, right? And all of this here in your reading is discovering, like, what is true for you? What is your alignment? What is your intention? Intentions are an idea with aligned action. You have to have both in order for an intention to happen. Otherwise, it's just an idea, or otherwise it's an action without having like a purpose or, you know, a reason. So, you know, it's envisioning a life that you want, a person that you want to be. Again, you know, just again, expressing yourself, living authentically. What is true for you? You have to even figure out what that is. And what's the lie? I think maybe, I don't know if I'll do that for the type readings. Maybe I'll do that for like the next round of readings. But for me personally, I've been pulling, when I pull cards for myself, which I rarely do so much anymore. But when I pull cards for myself, I'll pull cards for what is the lie, and then I'll pull cards for what is the truth. So maybe I'll do that next time. Speaking of, because again, like I said, like I think that is going to be the great awakening, because it's also like, if you cannot see your own personal truth, you will not be able to accept the truth that the government is stealing from you, or that the president of the United States is a pedophile, or that, you know, churches should be taxed, and the way that capitalism is now is not actually working for anybody except for, you know, 10% of people. You know what I mean? Like, if you cannot accept the truth of your own self, like, you cannot accept larger truths. So it starts within, you know? And then that's when you start kind of seeing the breakdown of other things. Like, you know, and too, when you recognize something within yourself, you can see it in other people. Like, oh shit, you know, this person is really fucking hurt. That's why they're acting that way. I know that because that's how I was acting, right? Like, I was lashing out in that way because I was hurt in this way, you know? Page of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, Queen of Swords. Speaking of truth. Like I said, you know, like, we have 2 pages here. So that this is like new action, doing things literally just to try them on, you know, like, see if it works for you. See if it feels good. See if it gives you life, you know, and if it doesn't, don't continue to do it, you know? Pivot. There's Cat Williams, his I think it's Pimpin' stand up. There's a point in there, I feel like I used to have the video. Anyway, I mean, I highly recommend watching that anyway. It's the funniest shit. But there's one point in this stand-up where he's talking about trying shit, and if it doesn't work, he just like tries other shit. And you just keep doing that until you find something that is, you know, in alignment. And like with this Page of Pentacles here, you know, I mean, it could be a new job, it could be a field of study, you know, learning something new, something practical. Because also, and I've looked this up a couple times through these readings, the definition of practical is of or concerned with the actual doing or use of something rather than the theory and ideas. So interesting, you know? It is, again, literally even like investing your money into an experience to have the experience. Even, you know, investing your money into learning, you either learning a craft, or again, did I mention in your reading about like doing a workshop? I can't remember if that was your reading or the 6-2 reading. But if I didn't, you know, and if I did, sorry, but if I didn't, you know, doing something fun, something creative, like finding a like an art center or a business that puts on, you know, creative workshops. I don't think, maybe I did mention that in yours. I don't know, but investing, right? You know, or investing in materials to do something. You know, pentacles also have to do with our body. So it could even just be moving your body, moving the energy around, right? The Two of Pentacles here is about balance and things evening out. I'm kind of curious what the book says about. I am the card of juggling all of the responsibilities life asks of you. This skill takes time to develop, and we can only do this at our own pace. Fear not, because you are enough. You are capable. Finding balance in many tasks, varying responsibilities, adjusting, multitasking. Yeah. And maybe that is like just kind of what you need right now. Like I said, the Queen of Swords, like talking about truth here. She is holding I almost said the Queen of Truth. Okay. But she's holding the Sword of Truth here. The Queen of Swords will cut out any bullshit. If you bring bullshit to her, she'll just slash right through it. This is like very discerning. This is also very honing in on your own truth. Because again, queens, we embody the energy of the suit ourselves. This is discovering the truth about yourself, discovering a truth, maybe many about yourself, and letting go of what is not true. I know that 9 times out of 10, if something happens and, or a thought comes into your mind or whatever, right? And you ask yourself, is that true? Like 9 times out of 10, especially if it's something negative about yourself, especially if it's coming from a place of conditioning, 9 times out of 10, no, that's not true. Or that's not something that I believe to be true of myself anymore. So then the next question is, what is true? What do I want my truth to be? And that can change. Did I say that already in this reading? Like, I feel like I'm having multiple deja vu moments over here, but like, you can reinvent yourself as many times as you want, which will happen, especially as you start to discover what is true for you. You just keep peeling back the layers. Like, this was true for me for now. That's also even pages. Like that is true for me for now. This is what I'm doing for now. I'm not attaching myself to any one thing. But what is true for me now is this is what I want to do. This is how I want to express myself. This is what I have a passion or a desire or an interest in. This is my motivation now, right? And that can change as many times because we're adults now. And we have sovereignty over our lives, right? And we can let go of what is not true. It's discovering the lies within ourselves. And again, so we can see the bigger picture collective lie. And again, last time, I truly believe that the Great Awakening is going to be more people believing truth than believing lies. Which is not easy, but I believe that it'll happen. So, all right, I'm leaving it there. Thank you so much for allowing me to yap and read your cards. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.